Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
A Friday edition of Duck Insider. It's spring break, and I said, hey, Jerry Allen, let's get you in the Country Financial Studio. You know, it feels right. Like, it's spring break. We haven't heard from you in a while, and we could make picks today. Like, we're allowed to talk about brackets, right?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about them. Yeah,
right.
No doubt.
You know, it's like when
but you don't want my picks because my bracket don't look good.
Really? I
No.
thought your bracket would still be solid.
No, I gambled on.
Did you?
Gambled. I didn't gamble.
Didn't gamble.
No,
Didn't gamble.
I
No.
guessed.
Guessed.
I guessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wise choice of words. Then.
Yeah, really. Got to be
Wise.
careful these days.
Wise
But
choice
really,
of
the reason I
words.
came in is because you kind of led me into believing. I mean, I didn't have breakfast. I a very small lunch. He said Sarge may make an appearance, so.
I think Sarge is on spring break too, if I'm being honest. You know, so there is one team that's in town this spring break. It's just the way the schedules
That's
all fell with
crazy.
Big Ten and non-conference. Women's tennis is in action at 2 o'clock today at the Student Tennis Center. It's going to be outdoors.
Great weather.
Courtney Nagel already said, bring the sunscreen to the Student Tennis Center. It's a great weekend for some outdoor tennis as the Ducks, you know, she said on the show yesterday, Jerry, like that's a big thing now as they're transitioning to playing outside. So many Midwest trips in the Big Ten, all indoor facilities. It's a little different when you have to play outside here the second half of their season.
Yeah, and the weather. I mean, the wind. It's been windy. I don't know why it's been so windy, but it's been very windy. So, baseball, softball, all dealing with that.
Yep, softball, they moved up the series yesterday. Didn't go well for the Ducks. See if they can bounce back today for Oregon softball. Oregon baseball, it's a big one against UC Santa Barbara. 4:30 the pregame. We've got Ryan Milano coming up later on the show. He is on the road for that 4:15 pregame and a 4:30 first pitch for Oregon baseball at UC Santa Barbara. Two of the best teams on the West Coast, really, since Oregon brought baseball back, but especially the last 4 years, 5 years now, Jerry. Number 1 in winning percentage and number 3 in winning percentage in the West. UCSB and Oregon baseball on the diamond. Pretty amazing.
Hitting the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
Man, Drew Smith's something else.
Drew Smith.
But I mean, you go through that lineup, 7, 8, 9 guys hitting 300 plus, stealing bases, doing all the right things. This is kind of a potentially exciting year this year.
And truthfully, like whoever wins this series has the edge to host a regional.
We're talking about
Memorial
that already.
Day.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey, you know, Chris and I, Jerry, you I know you heard the conversation. Like we were talking about that yesterday. Like it's in some ways it's never too early.
Oh no.
To be sitting here and talking about a postseason resume anymore.
No,
Right?
not at all. I mean, you want to get in people's heads right now talking about how great your team is, about what you've accomplished, who you've beaten. If you're talking about that right now at the end of February before you even get to March, or actually March before you get to April, then when you get another month down the road and things are a little tight, people can go back and look at what you did then. You've got a resume that you built starting in late March through April.
Well, not just what you did, but in some cases, I would say even to build on that, what you didn't do.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, like you talk about those bad losses, you know, that add up. And it's interesting. I've heard coaches around the country even start to debate this more. Like, remember when it used to be that what you did in your last 10 mattered more than what you did in your first 10?
Yeah.
And now I think there's just so many analytics and the margins are so slim between teams that it has to just be a whole season review for really any sport. I'm not talking about just basketball. I mean, you talk about how the RPI is not a great representation. It's not perfect. Baseball, softball is dealing with that right now. You know, they invent the net, which is supposed to encompass more things for basketball. The net even still isn't perfect. There's no perfect way to do this, hence why the committees exist in the first place. Yeah. And the committees have a lot to break down and discuss at this point.
I'm an old school guy. and analytics drive me crazy because the systems I thought used to work before we had analytics. I mean, once in a while they'd mess up and the wrong team would get in or somebody who should have got in, but for the most part they worked. Analytics now has taken it down to beyond sometimes teams who deserve to be there because of a few glitches here and there get bumped out.
Yeah.
I'm an old school. Flip a coin. That's
What if we just did a tournament for every team in D1?
Started.
Hear me out.
January 31st.
Exactly. And that's, all the conversation about, let's expand the tournament, expanding the college football playoff. We're going to talk about football here in a moment. There's just never going to be enough, right? There's always a team that gets left out that you feel like deserves it. And remember when we expanded the college football playoff and it was, everyone used to be grumpy about who number 3 was.
Yes.
Now everyone's grumpy about who number 5 is. Now everyone's grumpy really about who number 12 is because someone that's ranked 16 can get in as the 12 with the current formula.
Yeah, smarter minds than mine. I can't, maybe.
He's Jerry Allen joining us. Part of what I wanted to talk about today too, Jerry, is spring football. It's spring break at the University of Oregon. The way that Coach Lanning has done the schedule, there's a couple practices before finals week. Then the Ducks have finals week, finish up academics in the winter term, spring break, and then you get into the real meat and potatoes of spring football practice here coming up. You've been at the practices. I did want to check in on football a little bit. Was it weird being back out there a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah, it really was. I didn't realize how anxious I was to get back to it. I mean, I really wanted it to be here. Sometimes you get to, not again. We just finished with it. I got to go out there. It's cold. It's windy. But I was like, we got a lot of new faces, some great players coming back, some great potential. I hate that word, but it's real. Some new coaches who've moved up. So there's a lot to take in and a lot of freaking number changes, which don't help. But yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed those first 2 days.
Changes. That just reminded me, I haven't printed out the latest roster for you, Jerry, because there will even be some new additions in the coming weeks as the new term begins with early enrollees. So I'll put it up on the pegboard for you. There, and you can rip one down, and I get it though. I mean, it's funny. In the daily operation, right, of what we do on the show, there's such a focus on basketball, and then it's the diamond sports, track and field, whatever the sport may be. It goes in cycles, but then you just remember that football, the spring game, is less than a month away, and here we are now already talking about an opener at Autzen Stadium and ticket sales that have gone really well. Shout out to the fans. That's what this is all about. It's about getting people at Autzen Stadium again.
Yeah, I'm already looking at the schedule starting with Gonzaga. I mean Boise State. I'm talking basketball with Boise State
on the football field. I'm in. Let's
see
what happens.
I wish they put a football team together. That would be cool. But Boise State, a great way to open the season. And then you got some tough road games. Ohio State's not going to be easy. Michigan State, USC. But just looking at it and trying to already. It's not even spring game yet, and I'm already looking ahead, figuring out what could happen here, what could happen there.
Right.
I'm into football already.
Well, and that's what happens with such an interest. It's funny. We were having a conversation off the air the other day, and Chris and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Football creates such an event, right? Partially because there's a limited number of games. It's baseball opening day this week, an opening week for Major League Baseball, and there's 162 of them over the course of the season. That's a little different than when there's 12 Saturdays, most of the time 7 of them being at home.
Yeah.
It's just different when you have so few events. I think it's part of why Formula One has become so popular of late, because there's been a human connection with Drive to Survive on Netflix, all the things, but it's also because there's a limited number of them. That makes it kind of special. It's an event.
No, I mean, football, for a long time, football was the event of the year at the University of Oregon athletics. Track and field, came in there and had some great moments. But once football ended, basketball would have some highs and lows. But you really didn't have that reason to stay focused on Oregon athletics all season long. Because softball may be down, baseball wasn't really good or back yet, basketball, women's basketball back and forth, track and field. Now everything, men's and women's golf, lacrosse. You have a reason right now, fans, to be excited about Oregon athletics all year long. We didn't have that when I got here.
You bring up a good point. I mean, you talk about the broad-based excellence that Rob Mullins always talks about.
Incredible. Way, way underrated. People don't appreciate Rob Mullins and athletic directors like him in this day and age trying to keep their departments functioning and successful. And
I'll say even go down to the coaches too, right? I mean, we've talked before about like Oregon Stadium is not what Michigan and Ohio State's is in terms of size, right? Even alumni base. Like there was so much conversation about how Indiana has the largest alumni base of any public institution, which I'll be honest, I did not know that until Indiana's football team went on a run, which I will also say speaks to when a good sports team, particularly in football, brings in a lot of eyeballs. It's good for the institution.
Sure.
Oregon has, I think, benefited from that definitely with the rise of football. This is a track and field school first, right? Well, really,
no doubt.
First championship was in men's basketball, but it was in 1939. That was today that happened, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was on today. It was March 27th when that championship was won in the first ever NCAA tournament for the Webfoots, the tall first.
And they got there on a train, rode a train.
I bet they did.
Yeah,
1939.
Yeah, they didn't get a charter.
No charter flights at that point. Was it a chartered train? Who's to know?
Oh no.
Who's to know? The point that I'm making though is, you think about how that has expanded to everything that the University of Oregon Athletic Department does. Like the coaches also do a great job in terms of winning with resources. You know, that's a big thing.
No, and you forget the fact, too. Don't forget the fact that they're doing it while competing with other schools just like Oregon who are trying to do the same thing. So it's not like, we're on our own, we're here, we can do it. Oh, not too many years ago, it was the Ohio States, the Michigans, those teams were in that area. They were kind of competing against each other. Now it's not just Oregon and the top 10 or top 15. It's the top 25 schools who are involved with the money and the talent. And because of TV and the portal and all the things that are going on, you're competing against a lot of different schools now. And so for Oregon to be as successful as they are tells you how good a staff you have because they're there with the best. They're not down here trying to get up with the best.
I'm with you. The schedule for the weekend. We've got a lot to cover. Ryan Milano is on the road with Oregon baseball. We'll chat with him. Jerry's hanging out today. I should have thought to get you a hot dog.
Yeah, if there's nothing to eat, that was a good segment. I'm done.
Voice of the Ducks, Jerry Allen, ladies and gentlemen. No, we've got a full schedule coming your way. We're going to talk with Ryan coming up. Oregon baseball on the road at UCSB, a big one starting at 4:30 today. Timeout. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say
Doug Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Jerry Allen in the Country Financial Studio today. Oregon softball is again on the road. It's a 4 o'clock start today on Big Ten Network, and Saul Gavant's out there for KWVA. He's got a pregame at about 3:50 coming your way. They've added the pregame show to the softball broadcast this year. Been great.
Outstanding.
Yeah, all kinds of great interviews. Saul's on the road.
So cool.
Northwestern is the opponent, and Northwestern took it to the Ducks a little bit yesterday. An 11-3 win after they slid that game up. Not exactly what you've seen from Oregon softball this year, especially when Lindsey Grine gets the start. So looking for a bounce back a bit today. Also, Oregon women's tennis against Illinois at 2 o'clock at the Student Tennis Center. Men's tennis is on the road in Madison, Wisconsin with a 4 o'clock start today. The good win continues for Oregon men's golf. And then 4:15, our pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network this evening, Oregon baseball visiting UC Santa Barbara. You'll appreciate this conversation with Ryan. We actually talked
First
to him
and
yesterday
foremost,
because talking to him yesterday, and you heard some of it there, I had to ask a really important question, and I'm just going to plant the seed. I bet you know what the really important question was when he went down to UCSB, right?
Okay. Listen, I'm guessing, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Our chat with Ryan Milano getting you ready for 4:30 tonight against UCSB. First and foremost, I have to ask the most important question is how many hours have you spent either on the beach or by the pool, and have you gotten tan or sunburned yet?
The answer is yes, I have gotten very sunburnt. Joey, as you and I both know, we do not tan. I didn't spend like any deliberate time actually relaxing on the beach or by the pool. But I did go on a very long run yesterday, and I ran down past Mission Beach, and I saw like 4 different Duck fans throughout the course of my run. And 3 of them gave a very emphatic "Go Ducks" back when I passed them, and then one of them looked very confused.
Well, I can imagine it's a little confusing in San Diego when you see a bunch of Ducks running, but it sounded like, at least based on listening to your broadcast, there were a lot of Duck fans at that UCSD 2-game set.
Oh, my goodness. It was PK Park South in every sense of the word. Oregon basically took over Triton Ballpark. It was completely packed. And I don't really think that UCSD was very prepared for what Oregon was going to bring to the table. They ran out of food in like the 3rd inning of the first game because Oregon just filled the stands. It was standing room only, and it felt like a who's who of Oregon athletics. Like Josh Connerly was there. There were a bunch of former Oregon baseball players. There were a bunch of donors. A lot of the current players' families are from the Southern California area. Like it was completely packed. Capacity on capacity crowd at Triton Ballpark on Tuesday. The Duck fans just absolutely took it over.
Won 2 games in this midweek set before setting up with UC Santa Barbara for the weekend. How good was Miles Gostola on Tuesday?
It's one of the better pitching performances that I've ever seen from a Duck. I mean, he was absolutely dominant in this game. And really, it's ironic that we're now here in Santa Barbara, staying at the same hotel that we did when Oregon was in the regional round in 2024, because I really think the performance was very similar to a Kevin Sider performance in that regional in 2024. Miles Gostola was incredibly efficient. He took a perfect game into the 6th, and he threw 6 2/3 no-hit innings. Like that was how good Miles Gostola was on Tuesday. He started off first pitch strikes to almost everybody. I think it was 17 of 22 batters that he faced was first pitch strikes. He faced the minimum through 6. Like it was an absolutely dominant performance on the hill. The defense played pretty well behind him, but really there weren't very many difficult plays. It was a lot of routine ground balls, routine flyouts. Miles Gostola was just in command. And to start off a long road stand where Oregon is in the midst of 9 of 10 on the road, to get that start to kick off that road swing, I think so vitally important, and he was absolutely masterful.
Don, it was a day, too, where you saw guys like Drew Smith and Ryan Cooney see some streaks end offensively, and yet Oregon was still comfortably won the game, Ryan. I mean, it felt like after the heartbreaking extra inning loss to finish the homestand, it was exactly what the Ducks needed from a pitcher, but then also they found some ways to create offensively, even with some of the best guys in the lineup, at least statistically, didn't have their best days.
It was a long lineup, certainly, and it was the bottom of the order that really produced. Gabe Miranda had a 3-hit day. Jack Brooks, he hit another home run. It feels like all of his home runs are line drives. He is stepping into a little bit of a power stroke, a 4 RBI day for Jack Brooks. And when you have a lineup that long, when your 8 and 9 hitters are producing the way that Miranda and Brooks did, and they can basically win you a game offensively, well, that's really impactful. And Oregon got a few other contributions from Jax Jimenez, a solo home run, Maddox Maloney, a solo home run. But it was really interesting. On Tuesday, the guys like Drew Smith and Ryan Cooney, who have been so productive for Oregon over the course of the year, they didn't have their best offensive day. Well, then flash forward to Wednesday, and Drew Smith has 4 RBI, and Ryan Cooney goes 3 for 6. It was the guys who didn't produce on Tuesday that then produced again on Wednesday. So Oregon felt like everybody had a moment offensively over the course of this midweek series.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Ryan. I was going to ask you about then you flip it with those guys on Wednesday and just the impressive performance on Wednesday, because the offense, again, to your point of it being a long lineup, you're seeing that reorganized lineup from just now about a week ago, it seems to be paying off for Waz and the Ducks.
Well, in talking about different ways to win, I think Oregon won completely differently on Wednesday than they did on Tuesday.
Right.
Tuesday was a dominant pitching performance with some late offense. The opposing starter for UCSD on Tuesday, he was almost as good as Miles Gostola was through his 4 innings of work. Then the Ducks got into the bullpen on Tuesday, and that's where they scored their 6 runs offensively and found their production. Well, on Wednesday, Oregon put up 4 runs in the first inning. They sent 9 to the plate, which some people are telling me is batting around.
It is.
There's contention. We can flesh this out when we're back at PK Park and have a more long form platform. But nonetheless, 4 runs in the first inning behind not as strong of a pitching performance. Toby Twist had to battle through his 4 1/3 innings on the hill. But then after that, it was all of the offensive production sort of pouring it on. It felt like 2 completely different games on Tuesday and Wednesday with people stepping up that didn't step up the day before or did step up the second day. It felt like 2 completely different games, and talking about different ways to win. Oregon won in 2 very different ways, convincingly both times against UC San Diego, a team that is very respected in terms of their RPI because they've played a very difficult schedule to start the season, have had some solid results.
Ryan Milano on the road with Oregon baseball. It's a 4:15 pregame show for the Friday start, a 4:30 game against UC Santa Barbara, and then 3 o'clock and 12 o'clock, I should say noon, the schedule ahead for Oregon baseball. And talking about UC Santa Barbara, I want to depart, Ryan, if we could go back in time a bit, because you alluded to staying in the same hotel, feels similar. I was going to ask you about this. Like, are you starting to have some nostalgia for a great Oregon baseball regional performance from a few years back?
It just hit me. We stepped into the hotel less than a half an hour ago, and I walked in through the lobby, and I was like, this place feels kind of familiar. And I was like, oh, it is. We've stayed here before. And Gavin Grant and I were going up to our hotel rooms at the same time, and I was like, hey, Gav, this hotel's been pretty good to us. He's like, yeah, the Ducks have had some success at this hotel. It's starting to feel a little bit like it, and I haven't been back out to Caesars Usaka Stadium yet. We'll get that over the course of the weekend, but I do feel like there's going to be a lot of tie-ins to that Santa Barbara Regional, but quite frankly, it's a very different team than the team that was there in Santa Barbara. There's some holdovers: Drew Smith, Ryan Cooney, Maddox Maloney, Dominic Hellman. They were all on the roster for Oregon, but primarily this entire pitching staff is almost completely overhauled, and there's a lot of new offensive options that didn't play in that regional round, that didn't make it to the super regional against Texas A&M that season. So Oregon, I think it's going to be a reminder for some, but also an opportunity for others to sort of tap in and get reminded from some of the veterans that were there that, this is a place that Oregon likes to win.
Oh, and it's a different team for UCSB as well, but still a respected team. You talk about 2 teams that are 2 of the best in the West in the last few years. I know you'll talk more about it on your broadcast here coming up, Ryan, but that said, it's a tremendous resume opportunity for Oregon against a team that may very well be put right next to Oregon come selection time. The committees could be very well looking at these 2 teams come selection time. That's the way it's been. If history holds true, tremendous resume opportunity for the Ducks.
Well, and you make a great point. When we get to the end of the season and there is that sort of regional selection and the seeding of who goes where, a lot of the times it's the West Coast sites that are compared against each other. And now with sort of this new conference era, there's a little bit more opportunity for Oregon to be compared against an Arizona or an Arizona State or an Oregon State or a Stanford or a Cal on the West Coast. But it has been primarily Oregon and UC Santa Barbara as two teams that have been at the top of this sort of West Coast hierarchy that have been compared against each other a lot come regional time over the last few years. And this is a Santa Barbara team that, again, has a very strong resume. They have a top 5 non-conference strength of schedule, and they've gotten some really strong results. They swept Portland. They swept Utah. They played Southern Mississippi and had some success there as well. Outside of Big West play, Santa Barbara and the Gauchos, they have had a really strong resume, which is going to help Oregon's RPI ultimately and all of their metrics over the stretch run of this season, especially if the Ducks can continue to execute and put together a strong result this weekend.
Final thoughts for Ryan Milano. He's got the call this weekend at UCSB on the Oregon Sports Network for Duck Baseball. Keys to the series.
Pitching. I think the pitching is going to be the big key in this series. Going back to the regional, you saw some elite pitching matchups, whether it was RJ Gordon or Grayson Grinsell or Kevin Sider. You saw some elite pitching outings at Shizuoka Stadium. I think that if Oregon can pitch as well as they did in that regional in 2024, the Ducks will have a lot of success because, as proven over the course of this midweek, whether it's a late start offensively or it's an early onslaught offensively, the Ducks bats will contribute and probably do enough for Oregon to win. The question, can Oregon, who is playing a lot of games, they're playing a lot of midweeks with the 2 this week, the Tuesday game against Portland, can Oregon's pitching hold up enough, and can the Ducks get extended outings and lengthy outings from their starters in order for Oregon's offense to be enough, because we know how talented Oregon's offense can be. So for me, the key, pitching.
4:30 on Friday, 3 o'clock on Saturday, noon on Sunday. Oregon baseball visiting UC Santa Barbara. Ryan, have a good call. Thanks for the time, buddy.
Thank you, Joey. I'll try my best, and I will wear a hat.
I don't know if he will wear a hat, but we're going to find out. UC Santa Barbara.
See if he comes back with that big suntan or burn.
Yeah.
Then you know he's been on the beach.
It'll probably be a burn. We understand. Big series, though, coming up. And have you done a game at UC Santa Barbara for baseball?
Yeah.
See, so I was telling Ryan, I still have never been there.
Oh, wow.
I didn't do the regional there a few years ago because my second son was born.
Okay.
So Ryan went to that regional, and then I joined the team at Texas A&M that year. But I was starting to think back, and I went, that's wild that in 11 years now.
That is surprising.
I've never done a series there.
Great atmosphere. I love Santa Barbara. Yeah. San Diego, I mean, anytime you could go to the South in baseball, we go down to Arizona and it was like foggy and raining up here. Yeah. I miss that.
I
miss
too.
that.
I mean, I will say, like, in the era of the larger conferences, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about postseason resumes, what it all means. I'm fascinated to see now moving forward, how often do former Pac-12 foes get pitted against each other in regionals, right? Like Arizona was in the Eugene regional last year. The Ducks didn't play them, but Arizona was in the regional last year. There's going to be some interesting Pac-12 rivalries renewed, particularly in the sports that have those 4-team pods, like women's basketball, we were talking about it yesterday, host them, softball, baseball. It's going to be interesting to see, Arizona State on a regional one of these days.
I wanted to ask you. I mean, I know with football it was only a few times, but and basketball is indoors. But with baseball, I wondered when Oregon went to the Big Ten, you're playing outdoors. Mm-hmm. The weather is a factor. How much has the weather been a factor in softball? It was. I think it was yesterday. How much has the weather been a factor in those northern cities?
It's interesting that you bring it up because there's the conversation around like teams in the northern part in baseball. I'll go baseball particularly. Right. Teams in the northern part of the country tend to get better. Coaches would tell you. I remember Coach Horton would tell me this all the time. Those teams tend to get better as the year goes on because they can play outside more. They just simply play more. What I noticed, though, in terms of how it directly impacts the game, it wasn't the temperature. It wasn't the rain. It was the wind. Going to that part of the country, the wind influenced it more. We saw the 8 combined errors, to your point yesterday in the softball game. Wind was a factor. When Oregon baseball was at Iowa last year and had to win 3 to win the regular season title, won 3 at Iowa to win the Big Ten title last year, gusts were up to like 50 miles an hour. I mean, we're talking the typical, like, the trash can is rolling, and that's what I've noticed is the wind impacts games on the diamond more. We saw that a little bit in the Big Ten tournament with like, or some lightning even in the area, but the wind, like in that part of the country, it's a factor on a lot of fly balls. I'd say it's a factor on home runs, right? Like,
oh, definitely.
There were a few that were hit in that series, particularly at Iowa last year, that maybe don't go out without the wind pushing them to right. And there were a few in the second game that didn't go out because of the wind. I mean, I remember, I think it was Dominic Hellman hit one just an absolute mile. And it just, you could see it almost go like up, and it just didn't keep going.
Like a golf shot.
Yeah, exactly. It did not keep flying far. It just went higher up, and then the right fielder ends up coming in on the ball to make the catch. And I went, well, that's different, you know. Even in tennis, Courtney Nagel told me yesterday that there's a rule in tennis that if the winds are above 20 miles an hour, they won't play outside. And that's been a factor even in the decision-making now in 1.5 years for tennis in the Big Ten. If they play indoor or outdoor, it's usually the wind rather than the cold.
Yeah. And wind chill, too. I mean, temperature's not an issue. I mean, if it's like 40 degrees and there's not much wind, but if it's like 45 degrees and the wind's 10, 15 miles an hour, it's colder.
No doubt.
And then the wind effect, it just changes the game. So I've always felt it was unfair. I always wanted them to change. Baseball should start April 1st. And go through June and July, you know, go to the playoffs, because the Northern Tier teams always felt had to take a back seat. I mean, you're in the South.
And truthfully, I think, you know, I remember there was momentum for some of that.
I remember that. Yeah,
I think in some parts of the country too, if you play later in the year, you're not overshadowed by basketball as much. You probably make a little more money on baseball and softball.
Oh, I would agree.
Weather improves, more fans come.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. If I were commissioner, I would.
I think we should just make you the czar.
No,
right?
Yeah. I would ruin the world of sports.
I don't think you would. I don't think you would.
I think all the old guys like me would go, yeah, I love that. That's great. And all the younger people go, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know about that, though. Maybe not. Like,
oh, my gosh.
Let's unpack that next. Time out. By the way, we're also going to talk a little more football. I saved some football interviews when the voice of the football team is here. We're going to do that for you coming up. Stick with us. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is Meditating with Jan from Toyota. Soften your focus and imagine yourself off-roading in a Tacoma. Breathe in, breathe out, and go from dreaming it to driving it today. That's Jan's meditation.
Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Meditating with Jan from Toyota. Soften your focus and imagine yourself off-roading in a Tacoma. Breathe in, breathe out, and go from dreaming it to driving it today. That's Jan's meditation.
Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
continue from the Country Financial Studio. Joey Mack joined today by Jerry Allen, getting ready for spring football's resumption, April 25th, the spring game. Our broadcast will be live at 1 o'clock. We got baseball against Penn State at 4 o'clock, which means that Jerry will not only have a hot dog pregame and the Autzen press box, he'll probably have one at the 7th inning stretch and maybe even pregame at Oregon baseball coming up on April 25th.
I'll probably have one at halftime of the football game, too.
That's true, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mid I was going to say midday, but really that's like mid-afternoon for you at that point. Midday, mid-afternoon.
Hot dog
snack.
for breakfast, hot dog for lunch, hot dog for dinner, and a snack, hot dog.
All right, so serious question today. Yeah. It's a very nice day in the Emerald Valley. For those of you that are around, I'm sure you're all thinking about what's going to be the nice thing to do today. Well, the conversation point already in my household is what's Dad making outside for dinner tonight? What should I make?
Wow. A lot of things going through my head. We're on a big salmon kick right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I love to grill salmon, so we're eating a lot of salmon because it's good for you.
Big smoked salmon fan.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Candied salmon too.
Yeah.
Candied salmon. Ribs.
Okay.
Ribs. You got the big smoker though. You see, I've just got the big grill.
So I've got the big smoker and then the big griddle.
Yeah, the Blackstone types. Yeah.
This is probably a griddle night because normally, I would have put something on before I came to work
before.
today.
Yeah.
Right. These are the important things we ask on a Friday. I had to find a way.
Big T-bone. It's Friday nights. Big T-bone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Sweet 16's on. Baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I had to ask you because, look, when Jerry's here, we're going to have a segment about food.
I love food.
It's just.
And I can eat a lot of food, and it doesn't show.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it.
I don't either.
I really don't
know. I got my dad's genes.
I'm already getting texts from people like, it's a Friday, and you guys, of course, found a way to talk about food. Yeah, of course we did.
Oh, by the way, I want to shout out to a guy that I've known for years, Grant Tressel, who checked in a little bit ago to say hi. I hired him back in radio back in the early 30s or 40s. I can't remember. It's tube-type radio. You'll appreciate that. Great guy. It's great hearing from you. I love hearing from some of my old I want to say employees, but not employees, friends. I mean, we were all friends. So,
that's cool.
Good stuff. Yeah,
that's
but
really
now
cool.
food's my number one. Yeah, food takes care of everything. Music's number 2, sports number 3. Food, sports.
You know how everyone talks about like the thing that is on your mind and like drives your day? For me, it's where my next meal comes from and what it is. I mean it.
You know what you're going to find out, and this is for any of those or my age group. Okay, the toughest thing that my wife and I have to go through in our lives right now is deciding what we're going to have for dinner tonight.
Hence why I asked you.
It is so well, okay, and then and so I'll come up with we'll do hamburgers tonight or a roast or pork, whatever. And so we do that, and then the next day, one of the first things out of our mouth is, okay, I did dinner last night. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? And we struggle with that. We make lists. We go online. We ask friends, what should we do for dinner tonight? Well, how about a pork roast? No, we had that on Tuesday.
I love to cook. It's. I
love to eat.
I think that's part of why I love to cook. I mean, it all factors together. All right, well, I'm glad that we could have some fun with that. I had to find a way to bring food into it with you on a Friday.
That's good stuff.
We're going to get a timeout because I do want to let everyone hear from Drew Maringer. Oh, how about that? We've got to talk a little bit of football when we come back, hearing from the New Duck OC on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Jerry Allen hanging out in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack. It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I purposefully saved this conversation with Drew Maringer. He and Chris Hampton met with the media right in the height of postseason basketball, Jerry. And so I tried to kind of spread out the football conversation over the last couple of weeks. And I thought, well, the voice of the football team is going to be here. Might as well talk a little football and hear from Drew Maringer, a guy that I think both you and I are really excited for the next step in his career.
Oh, I just love the guy. I love his personality, his intellect in football, the way he handles himself, and I'm really anxious to see him work this team this year.
Yeah, me too. Continuing a conversation picking up a conversation from earlier with Drew Maringer, Duck OC.
You guys have the depth you do at receiver right now. I'm sure you would have been grateful for it last November, but how do you approach trying to get all those guys on the field and get them reps? Does that look like kicking the slot a little bit, or how do you try to just make sure you get all those guys reps when you have 5-6 guys who can really play out there?
It's an interesting question. So right now, our team, like we practice essentially two teams, right? We're split and we two spot, right? And so those guys they play a bunch of different positions. And some of that is so we can get everybody on the team reps, which I think is super healthy for our organization, because you just don't know, right? If you're like a one spot team, how much would we have seen of De'Air Hill last year? Probably not as much, not to feel good that like, hey, this guy's going to go in and, break off several explosive runs at the Penn State game, that's a tough one to see unless you've seen him practice and do it. So I think that all of those guys are getting plenty of opportunities, as a wideout too. There's sometimes when you probably like a couple less opportunities because you're running all over the place. But it's been really good for them, and it's given us a chance to see what all of those guys can do for us. Dante made a point to me today. He's like, there's some of these guys that I have rapport with, right? But I kind of I'm going to focus on, hey, if I can get the ball to guys that I haven't really had connections with, maybe they're new here, right? Like you're looking at some of the freshmen or Strap, some Iverson Hooks. Want to see if I can, start to build rapport with those guys as well. So, we know kind of going into fall camp down the road, like what else they can do and how well we fit and things like that together. So it's a bit of a challenge, but Ross and those guys do a really good job of managing that. And I don't think that there's anybody that plays any position, maybe aside from quarterback, right? That the more that you can do, the more value that you have, right? And so, and we preach that, right? So, we were working some walkthrough stuff, and I looked over, and Pancho's playing left tackle, and it's just like you just don't know. Like maybe he has to play left tackle this year, right? And there's some skill sets that exist at tackle that may not exist at center. You know what I mean? But what did it do? It gave Kaloy a chance to play center right now, right? With Pancho out there talking to our freshman left guard. You know what I mean? So that was great to see. So it's just value. Is Pancho going to play tackle for us this year? More than likely not. But, it's cool to see, like, it's allowing some of those young guys to grow.
Touched on it a little bit, but just what's your learning process like not even just this past couple weeks, but through the last year? Dan had said like there'd been like you call it periods, but just what do you do to prepare for this position in the past 2, 3, 4 years?
What do you do? I think that there's a book called Leaders Eat Last, and it's the way that the military, I believe it's by Simon Sinek, if I remember correctly. It's the way the military actually lines up to eat in the mess hall, and they line up from the young guys first all the way to the most senior officers last, right? And the point is that the guy behind you should be coaching you or helping you grow, right? And I think the point is for the person that's in front right here in the front of the line right here is that you should be trying to do the best job that you can at the job that you currently have, right? But while also mentally preparing to grow into another role as well. So there's not anybody on our offensive staff right now or staff period I don't think that's not trying to do that, like trying to grow and learn and expand. How do you do that? I think it's like anything else, probably the same with your job as well. Like if I was in that role, like what would I do here? How would I organize this? But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about my opinion in that particular moment, right? My opinion may be merited or warranted here, and I should give it. But ultimately, right, we're going to do everything that like Will, Dan, in that particular moment, right, decide that they think is best for us to move forward, right, and support that leader. But you have to think to yourself, would you do it the same way, right? Would you have prepared this or, game plan the same way or organized practice the same way, right? And as long as you're thinking critically and you're present and focused, I think that anybody can grow. It's like I tell people all the time, I don't think that there's as many dumb people in the world as we think. I think there's a lot of people that are lazy thinkers, right? Most of the time, like they just choose not to use their brain as much. And so we are all victim and guilty of this, right? To some degree, right? So it's, what are you doing? We talked about alive time and dead time, right? Like dead time is what you're doing when you're just kind of letting life happen to you, right? And can you use more of your time as alive time rather than dead time, right? To go and prepare yourself for whatever it is, whatever your goal might be. So I've tried to do that as much as humanly possible. Do I fail at it quite a bit? Yeah. Is it perfect out there? It was like, no, and I think that ultimately my motivation here, like at least at the beginning of this year, has been to make it as easy on Dan and the rest of the offensive staff and the players as humanly possible, right? And try and be prepared. Is it, like I said, is it perfect? No. Like, I screwed up something today. So we're all going to do that, right? But it's, are you willing to grow and continue to get better?
Sort of circling back to Poncho at left tackle. You guys lost 3 starters on the offensive line to the NFL. That can be pretty daunting for most programs. Sure. But you guys didn't go buck wild in the transfer portal, which is an indication that you probably like what you have. Can you talk a little bit about what that group looks like for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that our league has done an unbelievable job with those guys. I mean, 3 times in a row, Joe Moore Award semifinalists. And it's not because it's just 5 guys that are out there, right? You look and we start the SC game and Fox Crater starts at left tackle for us, right? And how many snaps has Fox played up until that point? Not a ton, right? And how does he play in that game? He plays pretty well. So I think that we're at a point where we have a lot of good young players in that position that have grown and developed and worked hard, and they're ready to take a step, Who are those guys going to be? I'm not sure yet. Like, we'll see. Like, those are going to be, like, it's going to be very competitive at that position. Ryan Switzer told me a quote that he had from Mike Tomlin, right, when he was vying for the slot receiver position, right, when he was in Pittsburgh, right? And there's 2 dogs and 1 bone, right? There's still got to be continuity, right? There's still got to be power of the unit, so to speak, within there. Like, they all got to support each other, right? But they got to push, and we'll see who those 5 are. But I do think that we do have a lot of good young players, and I think guys that are coming on, guys that we haven't seen as much on game day, but that have grown and developed and are ready for their opportunities.
Gatlin is an interesting case. I mean, you see him throughout the recruiting process. You see what he can be. Then he has the 2 years off with his mission.
Yeah.
Now that he's come back, what is he compared to what he was before the mission, and just how have you seen him so far? And is he the fastest player you've ever coached, among the fastest players you've ever coached?
So Gatlin's really fast. Like, I don't like, that's not a secret. Like, I mean, he's got the track times to prove it. I think that, there's definitely some rust that has to get knocked off for him. Like anybody in your guys' job, if you stop doing it for 2 years, with live bullets out there, right? You're like, okay, like maybe not the best article I've ever written. But like Gatlin's got size, he's got speed. He's got really great work ethic. He's tough, he's strong. So there's some very exciting things that we see from Gatlin. He's still, although 2 years older than most of the freshmen, right, still learning, right? And I don't know the ins and outs of the offense that he ran at Burley High School 2.5 years ago. But there's a lot of information that we carry in our offense. And so he's learning that, just, getting lined up and formation manipulation and all that kind of stuff, motions. And so I think when some of that stuff settles down, right, I think we'll have a better idea of where he's at right now. But does he show a lot of very exciting things? Yeah. I mean, he didn't forget how to run, he can definitely do that. Right. But it is too, like for him, like it's not a 100-meter game. It's a stop and start game that happens predominantly under 15 yards for most plays. So there's some of that stuff too that he's growing and developing on. Like, how many times has he in the last 2 seasons on a mission run, man-to-man dig routes? Probably not a ton, he's probably run some, right? But and certainly, like, there's some pretty good DBs that he's seeing, and probably a little bit better than the ones he saw in Burley. So at least hopefully. And so I think that, like, we'll have a better idea of where he's at, but some of the information's just got to sink in for him a little bit right now. I think he's like every single freshman that we have, right? It's a lot more volume of terminology than they're accustomed to, and the speed of practice is much faster. So, but he's very exciting, very, very exciting. I'm really excited to see where he goes. Because he's definitely got the want to, he's definitely got the ability, and it'll be fun to see where he is down the stretch of spring.
A lot to unpack with Drew Maringer. Really looking forward to seeing Oregon's offense in action. You talk about a lot of returning pieces. They've got some.
Oh yeah, I mean they've got the quarterback of the offensive line back. Mm-hmm. They've got the quarterback back. They got the receivers. They got incredible running. I mean, they've got an offense that was putting up 450 yards a game for the most part intact back. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. And I think he's brilliant. I just loved when we had him on the show, coach's show, and several times I've talked with him. He just is. He's exciting.
Well, I'll come back to what Marshall Malco said, Duck Chief of Staff, when he was here for signing day.
Yeah.
And he just said, all I'm going to tell you guys is that he would sit in the booth with Coach Maringer. And Coach Maringer would say something to the effect of like, oh, we got one here. And Marshall said, well, we knew that. I knew it was going to be a good day. Going to be a good play today. And that's, hey, sometimes you just get one right like that.
Yeah.
You do. All right, we're going to get a timeout, come back. Full weekend schedule ahead. A lot of Ducks in action. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Stuck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack and Jerry Allen hanging out on a Friday. Good spring break show, Jerry.
Thanks for having me in.
Thanks for being here.
I'm energized again now. I'm ready to go again.
Well, it's going to be here
fun.
before you know it.
I love catching up with all the stuff that. I mean, I love my wife, but she's not a big sports nut. So we don't talk a lot about, the Final Four, baseball, football, anything, little highlights. So I get to meet here with you. I'm re-energized. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go home now, and she's going to go, what?
Well, good. Yeah, baseball in action today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. Women's tennis in action at 2 o'clock. They're going to get started just as we wrap up the show here live in the 1 o'clock hour. It is match day at the Student Tennis Center against Illinois. Oregon's 11-6. The Ducks have a good positioning right now to make the NCAA tournament. Will be big to get a nice win at home. It's at the Student Tennis Center. The outdoor courts will be in use today. Also, Oregon men's tennis in Madison today. This is a big one for Nils Schielander's team that's 13-3. The Ducks are off to a great start early in Big Ten play. Wisconsin, 4 o'clock today for men's tennis. Oregon softball, game 2 in the series against Northwestern. The Ducks will also play at 4 o'clock. It's on Big Ten Network, and Saul Galvan's got the hometown call on KWVA coming your way at 4 o'clock for Oregon against Northwestern. And then Oregon baseball today. A 4:30 start. 4:15, the pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network against UC Santa Barbara. Ryan Milano's on the road for us with that 4:15 pregame show. Plus an entire full weekend ahead for men's golf, baseball, softball, both tennis teams in action again on Sunday. Oregon lacrosse at 10 a.m. on Sunday in Ann Arbor. What a weekend. Happy spring break.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different.